The Bob Sechrest Jr. Central Christmas Tournament is one of the most beloved events of the holiday season besides the actual holidays themselves. Year after year, this gym is packed to the brim despite impossible parking and sometimes rough weather conditions. But what brings people back? Who better to ask than those who have been coming for quite some time?
I'm Briley Palmer, and I'm the head women's basketball coach at Mineral Area. And I guess 20 plus years. I can't believe I'm that old now to say that. But been coming since I was a little girl, and many memories of just having a parent that coached in it. Having my mom worked in healthcare for years and dropped us off, me and my best friend, with our green books every day whenever it opened the first time, and being able to eat at the hospitality room all day and doing the green book for all the games, and then my parent or her parent that was either refing or coaching in the last game would then take us home. And so just a wonderful time, exciting time for everybody.
My name's David Gross. I've been coming here since 1965. I graduated from Elvis last year, and I haven't missed a tournament since 1965. The highlight of the Christmas tournament of my career coming here was my boy made it in 1984. Central won the Christmas tournament, and the coach was the coach that's here right now, Coach Mills. And you win a lot of games over the years with my kids I had, but that might have been the highlight of my basketball career with my boy and girl, was winning that Christmas tournament. Thank you.
Awesome. My name's Chad Bradley. I'm the athletic director at Central High School and the tournament director, I guess, for the last 22 years. This will be my 22nd Christmas tournament that I've managed. I played in the tournament as a high school student at North County High School. Coached in a tournament both at North County and at Central, and have been attending the tournament since I was a kid. I can't tell you what year, probably around 1980 or so was probably my first year that I came. May have missed a year or two while I was away at college, but probably for the last 30 years I haven't missed any. So yeah, it's been a long history.
I'm going to talk about history now. I'm the old timer of the bunch. I'm Harvey Faircloth. I do the BA now. I go back to my sophomore year was the first year they had the Christmas tournament. Coach Sechrest came, and that was his first year, and he looked at this and he said, we have a facility like this and we don't have a tournament. We're going to have a tournament. And they put one together the first year. I think there was only 6 teams, if I remember right. But it was quite an experience, and has been. A lot of people refer to it as a social event, not a basketball tournament. And I think that's really neat. If you want to meet some people or get back with people that you haven't seen for a while, come to the Christmas tournament. Very enjoyable. I'm fortunate enough, I've been doing the PA for, I don't know, about 30 years, I think, something like that. But that's just a sign I'm old.
My name is Jenny Mills. I coached and taught at Central for 43 years. And my earliest memory, I had the privilege of getting to play in the tournament, coach in the tournament. And my earliest memories, I'm an old Duster guy. Before we reorganized, my high school heroes were Mike Warwick and Phil Copeland and Dwayne Petty and those guys. And we didn't miss, and it was at this tournament they were playing Herculaneum in the semifinal. And Herky beat them on a last second shot to get to the finals. And I just remember crying on the way, being in the car crying. My Pirates got beat. I just couldn't believe it. But those are my early, that, and I remember Terry Middleton, Farmington, playing against Hillsborough. And I remember sitting under that basket and him battling those bigger Hillsborough guys. I didn't even know who he was, and I finally got him. And I thought, who is this guy? Terry Middleton, Farmington. He was an Elvis guy then, and I just think I don't know anybody who doesn't want to come and play in the field house. It's a great atmosphere. The kids love it.
Do you guys know about
when the tournament might have started, how it might have started up, just any information on that?
Go ahead, Harvey.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I was a sophomore in high school when Coach Sechrest came, that summer before the first tournament, and saw this facility and couldn't believe we didn't have a tournament of some sort, so he threw that tournament together real quick. I was a sophomore and I was average or below player, so I got to help serve as a host to bring the visiting teams into their locker rooms and what have you. But I talked yesterday with one of the players that played on the Flat River team that won the very first tournament, and his name is Bill Sherrill. Another part of history with Bill Sherrill, talking to him, best as we could figure out, he scored the first basket we made in this field house after it was open. And he lives in Farmington now, except for the wintertime. He gets soft on us and goes south to Florida. But he was quite a ball player back then. But my junior year, when I finally got to play in the tournament, Washington, Missouri came, and they brought a basketball team with them, and they won it the next 3 years in a row. And they had one player that I will always remember. His name was Tom Officer. I have no idea whatever happened to him, but he put on a show here for 3 years, and it was great to watch, and love coming every year.
And Coach Sechrest that he spoke of, starting the tournament here, is the Coach Sechrest that's probably more well known at MAC. This used to be Flat River Junior College's campus, which these guys can tell you more about that than I can, but he actually started here at Central High School as a teacher, or Flat River High School as a teacher and coach. And
That's
I
what
think
I
he
was
was
gonna-
coaching. He was
yeah.
coaching football actually.
Football, yes.
He actually came to Central to be the football coach, but he's made his legacy in our area as a basketball coach, both here and at Mineral Area College. And the court's named after him, and the field house is named after him at Mineral Area College. The tournament started in 56.
56.
Yeah, 56.
56 was the first tournament, yes.
And it was still,
It was still Flat River Junior
Flat
College
River.
and Flat River High School. I think Mac moved out to the current location like in 70 or 71. didn't
I-
he?
71.
71.
Yeah, I was,
okay.
I think that's right, I was gone from the area at the time. And, but yeah, back then, the junior college, we shared the same building for classrooms. They were on one side, and the high school was on the other side, and my wife still laughs because she finished Flat River High School on a Friday. On Monday, she walked across the hall and started junior college taking summer classes. So, but it was pretty neat experience. Also, talking about history things, when I told her what I was going to be doing, my wife said, you need to tell them about, we think it was the tournament in 1959, big snowstorm. And she and one of her best friends who were cheerleaders, and me and the other girls, now husband, he played here at the junior college, but he was from Esther, Gary McLeod. We picked him up on our sleds, and we came to the tournament on sleds because the snow was about that deep, but they still played basketball, and it was quite an experience.
Wow. And then I heard you talking earlier about how it was women's tournament first, as you said? Just women's and then men's separate, and then they sort of came together?
Right. Obviously, the men's or the boys' side of the tournament started in 56. That's what we said. The girls' tournament, I think, started in like 1985. Two separate tournaments. The girls played in January. It was middle of January. And there were like 3 years in a row that the tournament was negatively impacted by snow. Whether it got, the schedule got changed, games got canceled, whatever. 1990, help me out, Dave, 1996, it was completely snowed out, I think. And then 97 is when they merged the two tournaments and brought the girls in with the boys.
97.
Yeah, 97. 97 was the year that the two tournaments became one. And that kind of changed the schedule. And I think that's also when the fifth place bracket, the consolation bracket, and, you know, when this tournament started, or when it went to 16 teams, if you lost your first game, you went home. And that's what we were talking about this morning. Coaches were talking about at breakfast. You didn't ever want to lose your first game of the Christmas tournament. It didn't matter what the seeds were, whether you were the 16 seed playing the 1 or the 8-9, having to turn around. You know, now, if you're the 8-9 seed and you play each other, you know, a lot of times they think they lose this game, they can go to the consolation side and salvage 2 or 3 wins in the tournament and feel good about themselves. Then if you played that 8-9 game and lost, you were done. didn't matter that you had to go play the 1. If you won the 8-9 game and may get beat pretty bad, nobody cared about that. They just didn't want to go practice, because you lose that first round game, then you spent the rest of your Christmas break practicing, where if you won, you got to stay in the tournament and keep playing and didn't have to practice.
So who were you said when the girls tournament got going, can you give me names just so I can put that in my mind? Was that like the Burgess girls or around that time? I know I was 07.
Yeah, they would have been late 90s. They probably actually played in the Christmas tournament.
Right,
side
probably
of it.
one of the first.
Yeah, they probably played in the Christmas tournament or right around that same time. Leslie probably played here. Lindsay may have played when it was 2 separate tournaments. Like I said, it started in '85. John LeBrier would have been the girls coach in '85. Tracy Gordon Casey, Pam Gross, Dina Nicholson, they would have been on the central teams in the late 80s, early 90s. I think Dina graduated in 90. I think Tracy and Pam graduated in 91.
Before the merge.
Yes.
They
They would have been here when the tournament would have gotten started.
John had some good teams back then, some good girls' teams. Really good girls' teams. Been a lot of good boys' teams. Coach Mills had good boys' teams in the tournament.
What's so special, do you think, about this particular tournament that people willing to come out, like you said, on a packed gym all week long for full days during the holiday season? I mean, I understand the energy and perspective, but just to anybody who might not, what brings you guys back to this awesome environment?
Well, if you would come and come every night, then you would understand.
Yeah.
I think, and everybody's kind of touched on different things that make it special. One thing that makes it special is the fact that, it's over the Christmas holiday and people are off work, people take off work, schools are out, so kids are here, kids are home from college, so, they may have played in a tournament or cheered in a tournament or danced in a tournament or whatever. They're home from college and they know that they have a chance to go see their friends or their classmates. And that doesn't really change the older you get. There's people that I don't ever see. I'm 50 years old now, and there's people I don't ever see except at the Christmas tournament. So that's one thing that makes it special. Having played in the tournament and having coached in the tournament, I don't think there is another environment that a high school player gets to play in or a coach gets to coach in unless you make it to, a state playoff game or a state championship game, where it's as electric as it is here on the quarterfinal night, semifinal night, finals night, because the crowd is huge. You have not only the fans from your school, but you have just basketball fans that come out to support the tournament and to see their friends or whatever. So the environment that the high school athletes get to play in, I think, is unmatched. So that's another big draw too, is just the environment, the electricity that happens here. Those, quarterfinal, semifinal, finals nights, those 3 nights are a lot of fun.
I think this epitomizes it. A very good friend of mine, Jason Fleet, his daughter Marissa, played recently, and they got to the finals. And I wasn't here, but Jason would text me all through the game. I've got it on TV, but he's still texting me. And he's, I have to clean this up a little bit. But he couldn't believe the atmosphere. He'd never been here in that situation. I hear his daughter's out here warming up, and he couldn't get over the atmosphere. It's just exciting, and the teams that we draw from Viburnum to
Steelville, South Iron.
it just makes a great mesh for the competition. You see teams you never get to see.
Well, I'd like to mention, I know Terry Huff from Farmington.
Yeah.
He and I have been talking about this, and his parents came from the very first year. He told me until 3 years ago when they started having health issues, never missed the Christmas tournament. And he said he remembered starting coming with them when he was 6 years old, and he still comes. So it's quite an experience. I mean,
Yeah.
no way to explain it. Like Dave said, you need to come.
Just got to be here.
And from a perspective of I'm a Farmington grad and a BKTV person back in my day. So I was as a basketball player at Farmington, and we played it in high-level situations that year and whatnot, made it to the state championship game, and I was very jealous all the time. We played in a SEMO Classic that was thank goodness before, so I got to come to the Christmas tournament. That was the excitement because we had already done our Christmas tournament for girls basketball at the time, and so then we had the whole week to, watch these games. But I've had, like I said, a parent coaching it in the championship game. I've had a husband coaching it in the championship game. So I've been right on the fringe of it, and it's electric. It is, and I know that then, it would be like the next game after we'd play or watch the Christmas tournament, we'd play Central Girls, and we'd be like, what? This ain't the same, because we didn't get that same environment that we had just came and watched for, 5-6 days, and so just as a, I guess, a spectator, and that, I never got to play in it, but man, I know growing up watching the St. James battles, the Central Girls, those ones that, sitting on first row, and that's your, those are our role models and things like that. And I know one of you guys had talked about following people as you go through. Like, I remember as a little girl thinking, like, I knew these people, the ones that I liked as players, didn't know where they're from, what type of person they were, or anything. They have a good tournament, you follow them, and then you just build that, relationship that you think that, I don't know, that this week brings.
One of the things that's been interesting to follow is through the years, like I told you, since 1965 I've been here, been lucky enough to have a job when I could be here. As the years go by and the coaches change, the old coaches keep coming back. And you get to be friends with them if your kids played, or if they didn't play, or if you hollered too much, they remembered you. And to see them, every year you come, you see them. For years, you see the old coaches and some of the older people that they just keep following. You can ask Chad for years, or Harvey, they just keep coming back. It's really something.
I know as a student myself, just being from Farmington, seeing them play these other teams and just these heated rivalries, I know we're always getting into it in student sections. Do you guys still get into those rivalries, or you guys just kind of let it go and sit back and enjoy the game?
Now I sit back since I got into my 70s. I used to holler.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
We even got a crowd technical one night.
Oh, yes. That was the first one of Central Christmas tournament. Yes. It's embarrassing.
I bet whoever gave it still recognizes.
You know him. Everybody knows him. He's a good guy. We became good friends with him. Harvey, who was it? Denny?
Yeah.
He's from North County.
Good referee?
Yeah.
Ron Whittier.
Ron Whittier. And now we're all good friends. We were good. He's passed away. But I got to be real good friends with him.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah.
As far as the rivalries go, I think the rivalries are enhanced during the Christmas tournament. Thinking back to when I was a player playing in it or coaching in it, there's certain games that you circle on the schedule before the season ever starts. For Central, it's Farmington, it's North County. You circle those games on your schedule before the season starts. But going into a tournament, obviously those teams are all in the tournament, but you don't know if you're going to match up or get to play. So when you see the bracket come out and you prognosticate that, okay, in the semifinals we might see Farmington or we might see North County or whoever it might be, South Iron, you start thinking, okay, that'll be a pretty cool game, but we got to win these two games to get there. So, and then we talked about the crowds, obviously Central, Farmington, North County, those games, whether they're played at Farmington or North County or whether they're played here or whether they're played at Mineral Area College in a conference tournament, they're all neat games and they're fun to play in, but playing here in front of the crowds changes everything. It heightens the rivalry a little bit, I think. But as far as a spectator or a tournament manager now, I think you grow out of some of those things. At least you don't take it home with you like you did as a coach or a player, but it's still fun.
Well, the icing, which you alluded to earlier, was when the student sections really get involved, the atmosphere is awesome. And I think I saw at North County Farmington a couple years, those two student sections is priceless, And my son being an athletic director at North County, he said, well, Dad, I don't know how it's going to go because we both get, but that's fun. That's what makes it fun when the kids get involved. And I don't think that'll be any different this year.
You guys have already touched on this a little bit earlier, but just what's the most memorable game you guys have ever seen? I know for you, your son winning.
1984. Coach Mills beat Fredericktown almost at the buzzer. And that could almost cause a man to have a heart attack.
Well, we were down 7, 52 seconds to go.
52 seconds.
That doesn't seem possible.
That would have been prior to the three-point
Well, that was
line.
prior to the three-point line.
Yeah.
And Fredericktown was very good, but they mishandled a couple of situations. It was a miracle. It was a miracle.
You can't imagine what it's like when Coach Bradley goes out there, and it's even exciting to see him hand that gold ball to somebody else, other team, but having to hand it to a central team, boys or girls, you have to be here to see it. You have to be here to see it.
There's been a lot of memorable games and memorable performances from individual players or whatever. You know, one of my more memorable games was when I was in high school, my senior year. We played Central, and Central was really good. Central beat us in the semifinals that night. But thinking back, Harvey and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Thinking back, that was one of the more memorable games that I played in my career, much less it happened at the Christmas tournament. But that was a fun game, and that's a memory that I still have after all these years.
Mine would definitely, I have a couple just of being a part of it. And my stepdad was at Arcadia Valley and won it one year with Chris Foster and that group.
Pretty good group.
Pretty good group, yeah.
Yeah.
And then had some battles after that, after Chris was gone, with the DeSoto bunch and, Boyle being there and it was like perfect basketball both ways. Just it didn't seem like much defense looking and then a brother and husband that coached, and they luckily were together in that. And I can remember a foul call at the free throw line to put Hayden at the line to beat West County to go to the finals. It's really neat. Just anything you could think of. I tried to call Natalie on the way here thinking too, like, what? There's so many.
Well, when you've got schools, pick on Farmington a little bit. Farmington or Hillsborough usually is one of the two biggest teams in the tournament as far as student population goes. And then you get a team like South Iron that's a smaller school. Caledonia, they had some really good teams that won the tournament. I remember Caledonia played DeSoto in the finals one year. That's another big school versus a really small school. So you get some of those things that make the game special, regardless of the outcome. When you get a large school playing a small school, the crowd usually gets behind the underdog or the small school in that situation. So that makes it fun,
I remember one year, Farmington student section, we all cheered for South Iron one game. I think they were playing Central. And we were all just,
It's always fun to watch South Iron play. They seem to have a good team and a good coach every year. Every year. Whether they win it or not, they come here to win.
Right.
and that leads right into our final question. What are you guys looking forward to this year?
I would like my husband to win once. That's just, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. But they got a long way to go. They got to get out of their football mindset.
I'm looking for, hopefully Central will be in the finals against South Iron. I don't know what had happened, but that's what I'd hope to see.
Yeah, as far as the tournament goes, my perspective is different as the person in charge. And I'm hoping for no snow. I'm hoping for good crowds. Now, as far as basketball goes, though, I want to see good basketball. I want to have some fun. It's a good tournament. The tournament, I appreciate everything Dave said about running the tournament and stuff, but the tournament, once we get going, kind of takes care of itself. There's a lot of work and planning that goes in ahead of time, but once the tournament gets going, it just rolls, and like I said, it kind of takes care of itself. the basketball takes care of itself. There's always good basketball, and I think, like I said, it's kind of dictated by the crowd, by the environment. Kids get up to play. So as far as basketball, obviously South Iron's boys and girls are both good. They're fun to watch. It's just nice to see. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but the seed meeting is tomorrow morning. So we'll see the teams fall out on the bracket, and after the brackets come out, then you can start looking at the matchups and seeing who's going to match up with each other and how the games are going to play out. Try to prognosticate those things.
I just look forward to seeing some people I haven't seen in a year coming back for the Christmas tournament. I'd like to mention one thing. Dave was talking about his technical foul. I used to referee some, so I know what he yells. But when my youngest son started playing basketball, I decided it was time to quit refereeing and go watch him play, which gave me the opportunity to slide into that job over there. But I don't think anyone else wanted it, and I've been there ever since. And it's the best seat in the house. I don't have to worry about having a seat to start with. and
your voice is just not, when you hear him, his voice, you just go, that's our Christmas tournament. That's just,
He does a good
that's
job.
you. You do a wonderful
I'll give
job.
you a quarter after a while, Riley. But no, I can't wait for it. Just hope I'm here for it. Let's put it that way.
Me too.
Well, it's that time of year that flu season and whatever with the health issues. I hope all the teams can advance and the crowd, the people can stay healthy. Naturally, being a Central guy, I don't want to see more Rebels advance, but I hope it's without injury, sickness. I hope everybody is at their best, because you don't want to play somebody that's got this guy out with the flu. Play them at their best. So win or lose, it was against the best, and I just hope the kids are healthy and the crowd. And pretty sure a good time will be had by them.
And I'll piggyback on that. We talked about the most memorable games a minute ago. One of my biggest disappointments was we played at Crystal City on the Friday night before the Christmas tournament started the next week. And I turned my ankle at Crystal City my junior year and did not get to play hardly at all my junior year in the Christmas tournament. That was a huge disappointment, because that was something I'd always looked forward to and had been here and watched and dreamed about playing in, and turned my ankle my junior year. And I played a little bit, but not very much. So
I'd like to mention, put a gig in for Farmington. Every year I look forward to seeing the Farmington people I know. And two of them or three of them that stand out is Terry Huff, Jerry Freeman, and now the last couple of years he doesn't come much, but Murphy Thomas. And if you see Murphy here, it make you think you can go all the way back to when he was in school, when he was at Dole Run. So always look forward to seeing them from Farmington.
It was so much so, and I didn't talk about this earlier, but we hosted a classic, and it was usually, the day before New Year's. We always tried to make it, right, so we could get a game back, after we had sent our girls off from break. And it just, I kept being, Coach Cup, we can't, this game, we couldn't get any fans. And we'd change the times, do this and that. So now, as you see, I'm head coach now, but we do not have that tournament. We don't have that classic back. And it would be very convenient for us to have that classic, because we could get dudes in, and it's just, it's too special to this community. And you see that with just the crowds. And we like playing in front of crowds too, so we got to take and choose. We're competing with this tournament, so.
Yeah, they've done good.
I need to put in a plug for Riley. How great it is to see you having the success you're having this year. And if you haven't been out to see the Lady Cardinals play, you need to go watch them play.
Thank you.
They're fun to watch this year.
We're trying.
All right, that's all the questions I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much. It's been amazing.
Thank
Yep, thank you for what you do.